I wonder if they're gonna turn the lights on the bikes. Ooh. See, look at that.
Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go faster. Break the dash.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at 1/8's Kawasaki. We have a dance practice, a performance version, and a rap version that we're going to take a look at here. This was recommended to me by those who are fans of BE:FIRST and other J-pop groups affiliate, and I'm pretty pumped for this because this is technically their debut, I guess would be my assumption, and so I have no expectations going in, not quite sure what to see or notice, so I'm excited for this. Let's go ahead and check it out. Ooh! Wow!
Somebody cut off the lights. Torque it, bend it, speed it. Somebody cut off the lights. We wanna party, let's bring out the vibes.
Yeah. Silence of the Lamb. Ooh.
My demons ride and don't show immerse. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows.
Cut off the roof.
Don't show immerse. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast.
Yeah.
Kawasaki, go fast.
Okay, so we're talking about the brand Kawasaki sports bikes.
Kawasaki, go fast.
They better have a Kawasaki in their music video. It would kind of feel like a disservice, wouldn't it? Okay. Interesting. They're very full out. Nice. One did a back handspring step out, one did just a back handspring.
My demons ride and don't show immerse. No mercy.
Cool.
Fire with no windows.
Nice.
My demons ride and don't show immerse. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast.
Yep. Break the dash. Nice. Smoking.
Break the dash.
Cool. That's dope. Very, very full out. So that's always super fun whenever you see a group just really, literally pop off. Okay, we have the performance video right here. Oh, hold on. Let's go back. Whoop. And is that Mount Fuji in the back? That's kind of dope. Honestly, that's a really cool background. Thank you for the Kawasaki's. Yes. I wonder if they're going to turn the lights on the bikes. Ooh. See, look at that. I love it. Motorsport. Cool. BMX to Kawasaki. Interesting. Yeah. I'm really glad they have a dance practice, and I know it was released pretty recently that I'm recording this. I'm really happy it's out when I'm looking at this because I feel like some of the movement, it's hard to really tell because of the cinematic shots, which, totally fine. I like that. That's dope. Dope, dope. Okay. They didn't even show it in the video. Wild. Really cool though. Way to literally pop off at your debut, man. We're here for it. Mercy. It's an earworm for sure. That's nice.
My demons ride and don't show him mercy. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Cut off the roof. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash. Dash. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash.
Dope. Cool. All right. And now we have a, what is it? This is a rap performance here. Is it gonna be the whole song? Maybe? Gotta pay attention to the words.
Zoom. Everybody move. Who wanna battle me? I'm doing tricks in the party, just give me some room. I don't got nothing to lose. Somebody cut off the lights. Torque it, bend it, speed it. Somebody cut off the lights. Who wanna party? Let's bring out the bikes. Let's go. You can hear the engine purring, this is silence of the land.
Woo!
Swerving with no hands. Hey, taking over with the gang, I'm riding till the wheels burst. Hey, BMX to Kawasaki, I'ma let you see it first. My demons ride and don't show him mercy. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Cut off the roof. My demons ride and don't show him mercy. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Cut off the roof. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash, dash. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash, dash.
I like the person in the back. Okay. So I'm assuming it's just their rap excerpts that you heard in the beginning, and it sounded like it was all in English too.
My demons ride and
Don't show no mercy.
no mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Cut off the roof.
Cut off the roof.
Demons ride and don't show him mercy. No mercy. I might start a fire with no windows. Cut off the roof. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast.
Nice.
Break the dash, dash. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Kawasaki, go fast. Break the dash.
Cool. Yeah, we're here for it. I like it. All right, we're actually gonna look at the dance practice because I think it's way more clear seeing what's going on. And as somebody who analyzes dance content, as a choreographer and a dance educator, I feel I would be more beneficial clocking things more accurately whenever we watch this version. From the top. The subtlety here, notice to go da-da-da. And what he does, my guy in the center, he flicks beginning and it causes everybody's head to boom, shift very quickly over to a different direction. And the beauty of it is everybody has to make the same degree of commitment in order for it to register as fully as it looks. I do know some of them have more of a residual reverb at the tail end of it. Some of them let the head influence the rest of the body. Some made it very stiff. I'm assuming in this case they're not fighting for synchronicity or being known as a group that's like robotically clean, because some groups are like that, but this one is more of we showcase individual textures in groups, but we can all cohesively dance full out but still showcase our own colors as members, which I think it works, especially in the hip-hop scene of things. That definitely tends to register more genuinely than if everybody's trying to look the exact same. So I like that choice there. They go, and then everybody, instead of just moving their head, they actually move their torso now, or their legs, or something a little bit different, a little bit more full. So we're kind of progressing the energy from something subtle with the hand, with the head, and then moving on to our body. Really nice on that. And then they accent, boom, and then they make it nice and smooth in the sense of more hinging, and so more of a slower kind of tense dynamic. And then we have a nice residual accent having with the arms. And then from the arms, after accenting them, we end up going into more of a waving influence. Then from there, we reset, boom, nice reverb at the tail end. I do like the commitment of our hands. Everybody's making different choices, but they're all complementary. Great level usage from our lower people closest to us, and then we progress it a little bit higher. I do like the framework of it. Looks cool regardless of the intention of it. I like the level there. And then having, of course, your outside points being a little bit taller. So I like the shift. Not everybody's hanging out on the same level. We're showcasing variety. I like the formation setup too. It actually helps us appreciate the shape of the formation more effectively. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 8. So that's another thing that I find interesting is that there really isn't a period of time where I was looking at it and thought that it wasn't balanced or it wasn't really super like not symmetrical, which is very impressive for this type of group, because even numbers, it's you run into that problem more often than odd numbers. So that looks great to see here. Love that. He comes up, boom, everybody comes up. I like the mirroring for my guys that were closest to us as they come up and they rotate across. I'm always a fan of that. And they walk, here we go. They go and they turn across their back. So if I'm on they're on the stage right side, then they're turning over their left shoulder, and then vice versa on stage left, they're going to be turning over their right shoulder. So they create a sense of rotation to the outside, and it opens up a little pocket for whoever you want your feature to be in the center. I like that part, that burn. Now he has a nice little guitar accent moment. It was cool. He kind of, not pulsed it, but he had a sense of a breath that was added to it, so it felt residual at the end, which was cool. It goes, ba, ba, ba. So we have little ISOs that we're traveling up, but there's tension on it, so it's not just click, 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 click. It's a woo, 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 woo. So that's really fun, and then of course you have your feature. He's doing more arms on that. He goes, he drops it down. We have another feature. He comes in, he revs it up into a little barrel jump out of that, which was cool. That zoom. Everybody else has a little pulse that they're doing to hit that little boom, boom that's coming in on the track. So that was cool. He goes, yeah. Now, I am going to say this as an in general note, and this is kind of an overview for the entirety of the routine. It is very full out. I said that a couple times. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I actually love it. It's really cool to see that type of energy so early on. And you do notice it with more rookie groups or groups that are very new. Together, they're being promoted as a new group. And the downside, though, whenever you're full out the whole time, is you're going to run into a problem of it's going to start to plateau at a certain point. Because if you're hitting it with the same degree of fullness and we don't have any ebb and flow, any subtlety that's going on where we're exploring a different dynamic or texture. Now, I would say they are exploring different textures, but because the full out is kind of your priority on this, it's hard to appreciate the textures. It gets a little bit harder to digest all of the information they're projecting to us because of how extroverted it is. So you can run into the problem of, I'm not able to appreciate it as much as I feel like I could because you're just in my face the whole time versus letting like a push and pull. Because in a routine, just like in a track, you want it to have a heartbeat, just like a human, or we die if we flatline. And that's the issue you can run in when you're just full out the whole time. Just like if you're too subtle the whole time, it can kind of become not mundane, but a bit hard to separate and appreciate all of the focal points that you have in your track. So that's my general note that I will say about this one. I felt that way, especially about about halfway to 3/4 of the way through. I was starting to feel that way. But it's also, I'm very familiar with a lot of different movement qualities and I've seen a lot of content, so it could also stem from that in just what I'm used to seeing. So I digress from there. It is very full out and there's a lot of progression, so I am going to do 0.75 for this. I like that. Oh my god, that's so much information in a very short amount of time. Okay. So he goes, full extension using the back. You got to use the back and the core to get the speed on this even remotely close. You can tell with their range, of course, some of them can really push the limit. Some are more subtle in the approach, but I do like the fact that we are committing to the same degree of weight shifts. So they go punch, punch, 2 little uppercuts there. And then from there, they're prepping it up, still keeping that right leg up, which is super nice. Then also, a lot of these arms are going to have some driving imagery, of course, but whenever you ride like a sports bike, like a Kawasaki, how you ride it, you're actually leaned over a little bit, depending on which bike you opt for. My dad, he used to ride, it was a GX14, which is like the big boy ninja equivalents of the Kawasaki. And if you were very curious about this, the green and the black, it actually is very fitting because Kawasaki, that's their colors. But fun fact, just back in the day, I remember a lot of people who race motocross, a lot of times the brand Monster energy drink, they would sponsor people who rode Kawasaki's. Why? Because of the color palette was similar. But that's just a very interesting thing. It's not like a blanket statement, but as somebody who used to go to motocross events very often, that is kind of an ongoing trend when you would see the Monsters truck, not Monster truck, but Monsters semi truck, and they had a little vendor. A lot of times they have Kawasaki as their go-to motocross brand. So fun little interesting tidbit there if you ever cared about it, but now you know. So they go nice, so they're pumping the brakes. Then they take that leg still hasn't really touched the ground at all except a rebound, if that, because it's so fast. They take it, and then they're gonna take that knee, and the knee's gonna influence the direction of the foot, which is really cool. Then they go down to a little ball change to reset, have that arm up. It looks like it's about to influence this right shoulder. Let's see what happens. Then you have my feature. He revs it up, and he throws it. Then everybody else is more so, I think they're kind of just pulsing, or they're doing movements and justifying a different level. So there's a quickness going on in the front. You don't want there to be quickness in the back. You want there to be a balance. So in that case, that's really nice, where you have your small groups. The small groups can be appreciated through just your quantity, because not everybody's trying to divert your attention, which is really nice. So I do appreciate the subtlety going on in my back groups, so we can really see what's going on in our front group. So everybody is now joined back in. They hit it through, nice little march step or MC rock of some kind, some variant of that. And they go and they throw their arms to really showcase a fullness in their transition, which is cool. So they drop down. One of my guys has a residual reverb at the tail end. So those are like little things that showcase individuality. Is some people are choosing to be very still, and some are choosing to reverb out of it. So it doesn't really bother me as much, because it's a dance practice too. And part of how this is supposed to be shot is, with a cinematic lens on certain angles. So we can respect that. Nothing crazy, and it does give the appearance of it being a one take, which I have no qualms with. I prefer those. So he goes, and I like how he has more of like a laid back approach. He's not really pulling his energy with his chest or his back. It's just more of an internal conversational pedestrian kind of transition, which I really like. That looks cool. I like that. Ugh. Then from here, he's rubbing it up. He's taking that leg. He's going stomp, stomp. So you couldn't really see that very well. And so he goes and he crosses over, a little ball change, and then he takes that leg to the back, and he makes it a little moment, taking that arm to complement what's going on with that right leg. We love it. Everybody else is complimenting in the slide on the that you can hear in the back, which is cool. He takes it, cut off the lights, and then of course I love the fact that I kind of hypothesized what would it look like if we turned those lights out, because he said turn off the lights, and we just had the lights of the Kawasaki bikes, and that's exactly what happened. So my heart was satisfied. I was very happy with that. And they go, we want to party. So nice little arm positions, arm accents going from the outside, really nice. Then they pull on their shirt, so it does give a subtle degree of aggression. So you have your arms, and then we pick up our shirt. Would I say we're going full crump? Not really, but I can understand the compliments to that style, if any. I like the little knock knock, and then they all drop, which was cool. And then they all decide to move out of the way. Everybody else dropped down and moved out of the way, with a small group coming from back to front. And then we have one guy completely just ignoring getting back up, and he said, let's just roll. Let's see where we go from here. Bring out the bike. So I'm assuming going from back to front, which I really like. Yeah, boom, do, do, do. So I like that, where they're revving it up with the arm. Ding, 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 ding. Nice. I also like his overalls. Those are dope. Then he goes and he expands it from sides. That purr, and then Silence of the Lambs. Oh my God, if you don't know, that's a movie. It has Hannibal Lecter in it, and it has this like butterfly with a skull. Have you ever seen that movie cover with the girl? Ooh, goodness, that's honestly a pretty intriguing movie if you haven't seen it, but I wouldn't advise it for anybody under the age of 18, because I just, maybe unless you're a teenager who's really vibing with creepy stuff, then you do you, but I digress. It's very fascinating. So I love that he says purr like Silence of the Lambs. Ooh, no Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs. He goes and they take it and they pull it through that shh. Whoo, and I like how we go shh after for silence. Get it? Ha! Love it. And they're going in opposite directions. Really like that choice. I'm always a fan too of whenever we're not promoting all of our energy to one direction of the stage, because this isn't like a competition stage that they're promoting this on, or would be. In a performance version, you have the options of kind of, having your camera go wherever you want it to. So you can set up your choreo literally wherever. And then also whenever you have, when you perform at concerts, a lot of times your concert, you're going to have people behind you and to the sides of you, not just in front. Just depends on the environment. But a lot of times for like groups, whenever they go and do concerts, it's like outside an arena, right? So that's why I think an arena formatted choreo makes sense for a music group in comparison to like a dance competition group. But I digress. I like the fact that we get to entertain. We get fan service to all sides, not just to the direct front where the camera is, which I think is super fun. That little shh, and they go really nice on the chest bop coming out of that. And then from there, they go motor, so they're revving up with the clutch and the accelerator on the sides, which is dope. Well, the clutch is more of a pull, and then the accelerator is more of a vroom vroom, which is cool. And they go ding ding ding. I do feel like we were kind of do maybe some like just some ISOs to switch it up. Oh, so we're just pulsing it on the side. Yeah, okay, cool. So it goes pulse, pulse, ding ding, and then we go, and he takes his arms, brings them around. It kind of promotes the transition going from them all together into a diagonal, which is nice. And they take it up, hey, and I like that. Kind of feels like an echo in the distance, and you kind of have to hear for it, which I like. They take it and he uses it to promote a spin, which is nice. I love that they pick that foot up and then they hit it down with the fold of the knee right by the leg, which is really nice. They don't have it up or behind. They had it right in line with it, which was cool. And then whenever they hit it down, it was a fun accent, and it created a nice opposing force going on with the torso. So that was nice. They double it up, boom, boom, boom. And then we go, we cross, uncross, D, and then we go, and we're doing a nice pulse coming out. I love that Detta wheels. Woo! I like that groove a lot. So we're pulsing it, and then we separate those arms, and then he goes whoom, he pops off to the side, and of course it promotes these two guys to whoom, to slide out to establish a diagonal on a different direction, which makes it feel balanced because we just had our diagonal on one side, and then we go into a column, and then we get to establish it on another side. Looks great. He heads it through BMX, boom, boom. BMX, I think that deals with like more bicycles, right? I'm used to Kawasaki's being like a motorbike, so I think it's interesting on that wordplay for sure. It's cool. He goes hit. I like that where he goes and he looks. He's like, yeah, you see it first, and I like the airtime on that. That was dope. Then he goes boom, and that was rad, and that's nice. He goes and pulls it through. So my feature is going to be my guy right here because he's the one who deviated the most aggressively with his arm extended, and now he's taking a more conversational approach with these bounces, but also where your weight's going helps influence the rock too. So I like that choice, but we also are entertaining a hinge that's going on too. It's very polyrhythmic. It's subtle though. It's cool. And so no mercy, and I like they go no mercy, all of them unison, more of a declaration with the vocals. So you can hear all of them drop. It feels very unified, and then it introduces a new group. I like that little pony with a crossover. They take those arms, taking that chest to isolate it to the side. They're isolating it in the direction that they're going, so it actually helps in their energy and where their weight wants to go normally. It helps in the transition, make it look more full. So I like that. They go, they take it through, they cross over. Now it does feel like you could do a little, what is it, like a party machine out of that, but it's not really that at all. It's more so just the kicks itself. So they kick, and then they kick, and they go, and they rotate one arm, kind of tucks underneath the other arm to create a nice visual in the rotation. Then they go and they rev it up like we're catching that wheel. Now, once again, Kawasaki bikes are mostly hang out here. You don't really drive a Kawasaki bike like this because it's not a wheel, but I don't mind it because it's similar to like you're just using imagery of driving, so I don't mind the wordplay at all. And I like how they took it, whoop, and they used it to kind of throw it up. What are we going to do with the energy that you just threw? They just went whoop, and notice whenever they threw it away, they're all looking subtly different, which I think is fine, to your next feature, which is my guy right over here on stage left. And because they're all looking stage left, where do we as an audience want to look? You guessed it, to stage left, and he's the only person that's deviated, doing something different than standing. So we're naturally wanting to watch him. So they have enough cleanliness to make it very clear who our features are at any given time, which is always good. That's good on a choreography sense and good on a practice diligence sense, because if it was hard to figure out who the feature was, but it's because they're so unrefined and other people are distracting me from who I need to look at, that would be a note of we need to really work on being clean, because there is a difference between that squeaky synchronicity clean where you're going for robotic or going for that clone-like effect, which works for certain concepts, but then there's others where it's just there's not a discipline to really showcase the integrity of the choreography in a group setting. There's too many individuals when it needs to look unified. But in this case, I think it's a happy medium. I think we're totally happy with it, and it's really nice to be able to see a lot of these instances because they're very subtle when they need to be, and then they're full out whenever it's time to be too. Yeah, but I still stand by what I said. I do feel like it's a smidgen too full out, too long. Now, I'm not saying that they need to like tone it back. I just think there needs to be more dynamics in play on, kind of toning back, make other elements more conversational depending on what part of the music it is. So it helps me appreciate when they do go full out. Yeah, that boom, boom, I'm a star. I like that little kick. It does feel like we're doing a little like a little juvie slide almost, which I think is super fun. And they go that windows, they go cut off the roof, I think is what they say. So I like how they expanded over to the outside, which is nice. Do a little pas de bourrée sequence to get the transition to switch up. I like that. Doon, 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 doon. I like that. Really cool. The accent, boom, I like that choice. They hit it up, and then they go into the point onto the wrist, which is nice. Then they switch it up, and then they go this hand, because it's really close, they can immediately come up very quickly. So with a lot of these choices, you have to know where they're starting and where they're finishing, and it helps influence the next motion, because we're at 0.75 and it is still a lot of information in a very short amount of time. So that could be another thing too, is that they're really, I mean, there's only been a couple of breaks so far, which for a 2.5 minute routine, you can only break so many times, which I get, but it's very, you know, that's a really nice breather moment right here with the revving. I love that, hitting it through. That's also really nice. And then we go and we take it. I like the little ball change, but they're going on the heel instead of the balls of the feet. So I really like that choice. And they're letting the body take a more laid back approach on it too, so it feels like we're coasting. So I do like that choice. That's really dope. They take it, I like where they go, woo, and they take the leg. They're using it, they're kind of just dragging it on the tip of the shoe, which is nice, and they're using it to help in the rotation, getting into a new formation, which we like. I like the kick on that. They go, they take the arms, we're about to travel them up. They go up, boom, we're about to throw that body. Now you could nay something similar to this, right? And I like that I like that detail. That was really cool too. They hit it through, boom boom, going out in, which is nice. And then they bring up the body, so it goes bring it in, boom, revving it up, matches that sound very well. And then we're about to bring it up, they go boom on the pulse, and then we take that arm, presenting it forward. I like the throw, and we go and we rotate once again to the outside. New feature comes in. Who's my feature here? I'm assuming it's my guy right here. He showcases the most facial charisma, which is what I'm going off of, not just mouthing words. He's the one I clocked there. They come up with the arms up. Notice that we had two different lines, and then my back row had their arm up to establish some subtle level represented. And you have your group of, you just have everybody here. Feels like more of a diagonal. They go. Really nice choice on the heel twist with the head to complement it as well. Was that a heel twist or toe twist? Yeah, boom, D. I like the subtlety of that. That's really fun. They come back in, boom, really nice. And then they go back in, they go heel, and then they bring it up on the toe. Then they go, we step out, which is nice. We hit it through. I like the stability check on that where we have to hold it. And then we take the arm from here, and we go, and we take that leg to complement on the parallel. Boom, have a nice moment on the ball of the foot, placing your weight there so we can bounce back. Should have dropped, but it's not really a drop. They just drop the level. Yeah, boom, boom, right there on the bases, as you can hear, boom, boom, which is nice. Then we go and we walk forward, boom, boom, and then we go, we step out, we cross, and then we take it behind. Really nice on a little pas de bourrée action coming out of that. They go in, over, up, dropping those arms, really nice on the looseness of the breakage of the wrist, which is really nice, creating subtlety, the crossover, nice arm position. Some people did choose to hyperextend it, so you can kind of see this and this are subtly different. That's just somebody's, you know, niche of movement, which is fine. Yeah, boom, doom, doom, cool. Bringing it through. I think some people, it looked like some of them did like a subtle wave out of it, and some of them just brought it to the outside. Those are just little details. If they wanted to clean it up, they could. But there's so much going on. We are killing it at 0.75, and I am not bored at all. You know, this part right here. I think, here's what it is. I think this was my first indicator where I was like, this movement may not be necessarily too full out. I think this movement is too loud for the part of the track, right? It feels with the basses, and that bass is more residual in the bottom half of the sound production. So there's not all this fullness, especially coming from my guy right here. There's not enough sound to justify it. That's just more of a personal preference for me, but that does influence how I perceive and view the choreo. It doesn't feel like we're allowing ourselves a break, even though the music has taken a break. We're not matching the music here. So it could be that, which is what was tailoring into my overall viewpoint of it. Feels a smidgen too full out. It's too extroverted on certain sections that need to pull back a smidge, because it doesn't feel like we're listening to our music as much outside of just hitting what we want to hit, but at our own volume versus matching and collaborating with the volume of the track. So that's my note specifically for this part. It feels that way. Yeah, that boom, boom. Yeah, like they're hitting it. It's very full though. Yeah, bringing it through, boom, they come up and a little hit them folks, the pull through. It could just be his fringe too, and just how he moves. It's just so, like, there's such a residual accent that takes place. It could just be my guy right here and how he moves just feels that way. So my apologies if that's a little bit too, you know, if I'm not vibing necessarily with just his movement quality in that specific section. But I really like his movement quality overall. I think he's doing a great job. He's giving main dancer energy. I don't know though that they drop it down. I like the fold downs on that. They go, they turn, really nice. And then right there we go into a back handspring. So when I said back handspring or like with a step out, what I mean by step out is instead of finishing with both legs on the ground, you step out, so you step 1 foot at a time. My guy that I just talked about over here, he stepped out with both feet, meaning, or he didn't step out, he just did a back handspring. He finished on 2 legs. My guy right here, he stepped out right, left. Both are fine, but that's why they look different, is because how they got out of it was subtly different. But the spring was there. Right there, that boom, ding, ding. I also like the fact that we got to appreciate those backhand spring or spring step outs, because in the performance video, you really didn't see it at all. So I find that interesting, because that's a fun little element that you don't really see like a ton in like just in music group choreo like this. You normally don't see it as often. Like this here, boom, ding, ding, nice, and then we go. So we have a lot of separations and a lot of subgroups. It does promote a lot of variety, but there is a lot of unison as well. The beginning had a lot of variety, dynamics, and level justification, but in these cases where we have 2 people, a lot of times we're doing the same choreo, we're just using our transitions and our formations to help make it give a different appearance. And that's totally fine. I talk about this often. You want to have a balance. If you're going to have not a lot of formations and not a lot of levels, then you have to make your content interesting enough to allocate for that. If your content isn't super interesting, then you want to have intrigue take place in your formations, your transitions, and your staging, right? And that's your choreography toolkit is where I'm speaking from. Battles is very different, but in this case here, we do have a more of a focus on what's going on in the formations. We're not using levels as much, and we're using a lot of subgroups to showcase our staging more effectively. And I understand for the very first, your very first promotion as a group, you want to go as full as possible. I get that. It does give that same rookie energy of how I feel from a lot of Gen 5 groups that I'm seeing on the K-pop side. So it's nothing unfamiliar to me, but that's just in general note. I love the fact that they can go full out, but it depends on what part of the music or the type of track that you have. You want to at least give me some intrigue whenever you showcase the absence of it, if that makes sense. I feel like they're able to do that with maybe an 8 count or so, but I'm talking about like an entire section would be really, really helpful to showcase like some depth and some breath. It feels like we're not breathing. It's hard for me to breathe as somebody who's watching, is my overall note there. I like that. Boom, bring it up, boom, and then we drop it. Once again, I like that right there. They hit it, and we use the chest, and we use the hinge of the body to get this to rotate over to the other side, which is really nice. I like the pull, boom, boom. I like that choice as well. Really nice with just the swing of the arms to help promote a suspension of the body before we go and transition out of it, which is what we see here. Then this right here, these ISOs are really not the cleanest if we're being real. I see what they're going for, but I can't tell you what direction for the duration or the actual what's the sequence that they're going for. So that's my general note there. No, it doesn't matter about what you wear. I mean, it can to a certain extent, especially if you have a black wall and you're wearing black, it's hard to tell. But a lot of these choices don't feel very clear in the ISOs, which can reiterate my point of whenever we have subtlety, it's hard to make it feel that way because we're trying to attack it the same way as other things, but we're getting lost in the transitions. Yeah, ding, ding, right there. I'm not sure if we swooped it, if we brought it over to the side. We drop it here, boom, dee-dee-dee. I could tell with my guy in center, I think we're supposed to go dee-dee-dee here, right? Then we go boom, boom. I like the ball change where we're taking it and we're using one arm to promote the body in that ball changeover. Hit it through. I like that choice with the folds. And then we accent on the crash coming out of that. Then we fold it down, and then we have different levels. Though that part was nice, but once again, it kind of, I've talked about this already. Your formation, we're doing a lot of unison, which is fine. We rotate it around. I like the switching of the knees. Then we thread the arm through, and we use it to promote our upper body to sink a little bit deeper into the choice. Hit. That's nice. I don't mind that. They hit it, they twinkle it in. That wasn't really clear for us to see as much. That bring it up. Taking those arms up, and then we switch it down. That was nice. So I like that with the drop coming out of it, with your new feature popping up. That was really nice. Then they switch, and then they take it and they use the upper body to promote or to push up into some of them, I think, yeah, we're just pushing up hinging wise to get up, which I really like, to a sit-up position, and then they go and they separate the legs. They have their arms right there, some making subtly different choices, and then you have your head to complement what's going on with your feature. He's taking his arm up, so that makes sense there. They go mercy. He goes a little hit them folks, no mercy. Then they take it and going from one side, they have a nice moment, and then they drop to the other side. So that was cool. So he takes that leg, my feature does, he brings it up, he swivels it to re-promote out. So I love that choice. This part was cool. So how you do this move is it's about your rotation and your core. So I've done this move many a times. I put it in many a choreography, so I'm familiar with the structure enough. Whenever you come up, what you have to think about is you don't want to overshoot your body and overhinge forward. Part of it is going to be that pull up. If you've ever done a bridge recover where your hinge and your core are what helps promote your torso to come up from sitting to standing. In this case here, you have to be mindful of your hip flexors, and if you over engage in those, you may run into the problem of straining one of them. I have an example, like at competition, whenever I did this on stage, I ended up straining one of my hip flexors because I was engaging from the wrong part of my body and I wasn't warm. So keep that in mind. Make sure you warm up before you do that. You swivel it around. In order to get the speed change, you want to make sure that you have your legs engaged, have that core engaged so you can stop and go, because part of the visual is not just the rotation, it's the ability to stop it at any given time. So that shows your full control of that. So I really like this choice on how they're coming up. Yeah, I like that. So it doesn't feel like they're revving it from the back to come up. They're going straight from the side. So they're pushing up, it looks like, from with their hands to help continue that visual, which is super nice. Cool. Yeah, so they're pushing up there, but they're making sure that that body rotates around, boom, but not too far over around, using the core to get them up. I like that. That was cool. Got out the roof. They hit it. Nice little ball change, but a lot of force coming out of it. The show of mercy. No mercy. I like that choice as well. Like we're catching breath right there. Cut off the roof. Cool. Nice. And this right here, boom. There's something else that I'm noticing. There's a lot of residual reverbs that are taking place that aren't really satisfying, or not satisfying. They're not really resting on any particular part of the track, and not everybody's doing it either, so it kind of feels like an individualized choice. I did say that in the very beginning. I think that's totally fine. But what ends up happening, though, is it kind of feels like we're adding too many embellishments with the movement quality that's not really satisfying to the track as a whole. And that's just my personal note. Here's the thing. These are just observations. What I say doesn't necessarily go. I'm just a commentator position. I'm an analyst, and I just go off of my past experience of what I'm exposed to, what I've seen work and not work in the competition choreo scene, as well as in the conceptual scenes. So please keep that in mind. They're allowed to do whatever they want, and they don't have to change anything. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just showcasing observation, because somebody else may feel the way that I do, and I'm trying to articulate why that may be. In the case here, with the extra embellishments of the reverbs, like what you see from our feature right here, boom, it's hard to understand the legato of the groove whenever I have so much reverb that's interrupting it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like my in general note, which is why it doesn't feel like I have a ton of dynamics in play in between the super extroverted movement and the introverted movement. Is because we have so many reverbs or so many extra ornament based accents taking place that are so individualized that it's not allowing me time to really appreciate when we're being subtle, right? Because they're technically not be. That right there, yeah. So there's an extra da 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 do do do, which I totally get. I call it rookie angst, honestly. Yeah, that right there, boom, super fine. They throw. I like the subtlety coming from my line 2 on this. That was really nice and clear to see. I love that. Yeah, the little Kawasaki, boom, boom. We're adding this extra hit, but it also, there's a bass that is going on that. Yeah, boom, Kawasaki, and then we do a nice little foot variant coming out of that. What do we do specifically? Yeah, he takes it through, we rev it through, and then right here. This is my second guy. This is my guy. He also does that, which is probably why I said what I said earlier. It goes this boom, boom. That part, there's basses there, makes sense. Yeah, boom, go faster, boom, we go and we throw it. Yep, boom, and then we go rotate those arms to the side. That looks totally fine. They rotated around. I like that choice. It looks great. That was a clean finish coming out of everybody on that. We all have our nice little melty melts with exit waves, but not really an exit wave at all, but that's just kind of the direction in which it goes. Little head ISO, break the dash. We're picking up that foot. We're about to kick it, shoo, with a fun finish. Very nice. They're probably mad tired. I get it. That's a lot of energy for a one take. We're here for it. And oh, if you notice, they have these little numbers right here. So those are pretty diagonal. Interesting. So they set most of this. I'm just not used to seeing people do their whole dance practice in the corner of the room. So this is technically like a corner. And they even have the number line there too. Normally you see where your number line would be like right here. Sorry, that's curved, but like, I hope you understand my point. Like, it would be here and we would be filming our camera going and filming this direction, but we're filming this direction. That's also very fascinating. It could just be the dimensions of the room. We just didn't have enough space to allocate for these formations for the number. I think that's totally fine. But in general, I mean, I think this is a really great debut for this group 108, and definitely gives full out is definitely the word I would use to describe this group. It makes me intrigued on their future work, on whether or not they're going to keep this degree of energy, or if they're going to showcase a different concept or a different way of introducing the overlap of the movements that we see here, but in a different way to showcase maturity of movement, because that is what comes with that, is whenever you're more mature in your own personal movement quality, you feel more confident in taking the risks of being absent in movement, or to showcase just stage presence, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times people want to just show off all their tricks and they want to show off all this full out energy and this, that, and the other, but what comes with that though is you end up sacrificing depth. And I think that's my in general note here, but doesn't mean I didn't like it. I like it a lot. I think it was very fun, but those are just my over observations of what I've seen from this group specifically. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I have taken a look at quite a few J-pop groups at this point compared to whenever I look at a group for the first time. I think it's been really fun. I've been looking at Number I. I've seen Jump Boy Bangers, and I think there was one called something like something with snowman in it, right? Something like that. Be First, especially. I've seen a lot of their stuff at this point. And I find it so interesting that with a lot of these groups in the J-pop side, there's a heavy like dance crew choreo pocket that is explored, and each group brings something very different. Be First has like a heavier boogaloo isolation influence. This group here gives a way more full out extroverted vibe, and I like both for different reasons, but they both have different things that they bring to the table, and it makes me excited to see what both do as they continue on as a group. So if you want to see more, I'll probably show more, because I caught them at debut. I may try to stay up to date with them just to see their growth, because that's what I'm here for. But I also take a look at K-pop choreography equivalences. I also look at dance survival shows and battles. So if that's something that interests you at all, I hope you hang out, and I'm excited for the commentary for this. Once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.